Atlantis, Paradise Island.
If Christopher Columbus went in search of paradise, he certainly found it when he landed here in the Bahamas in 1492. But just think how different history would have been if he'd turned round and gone home straight away, because here to meet him had been these guys.
Get ready! Yes!
And this is what it's all about, the Metrex Trophy for the world's strongest man. And the format for this year's competition is dramatically different to past events. There used to be 30 contestants, now there are just 12, and they play each other head-to-head in 11 different events. In each of those, there are bonus points available up to a maximum of 5, and 6 guys go through to the final. Our expert guide, as ever, is as imposing as any of this year's contestants. After the first day's competition, 2 men had played 2 events and won them both, Pudzianowski and Virastyuk. It's worth pointing out, though, these are the very early stages, and some of the strongmen have a couple of events in hand. Well, this is Paradise Island in Nassau, and the voice of strongman is Paul Dickinson.
Fingal's fingers.
It's Sweden up against Poland in this first event.
One thing we've never seen Mariusz Pudzianowski do in the history of the world's strongest man is turn 5 fingers. His opponent, Samuelsson, is one of the best at this event.
Well, 2 world's strongest men in this field, of course. Magnus Samuelsson, that was some time ago, 6 years in fact. Mariusz Pudzianowski, 100% record in this year's contest so far. And at the moment, Samuelsson is just a whisker behind Mariusz. Pudzianowski going on number 3 very easily. This 4th finger for 4 bonus points, 605 pounds. And I thought Samuelsson would get away to a better start here. He is the taller of the 2, and that has proved to be an advantage in the past. But it's Mariusz all the way at the moment. And Samuelsson's coming on stronger. Oh, Mariusz Pudzianowski has just failed at the last. And that was like the tortoise and the hare. Samuelsson coming from behind. Huge cheers from the crowd. And there is a chink in Mariusz's armour after all. It is going to go over, but very, very slowly. Not as fast as Virastyuk set in the last programme, which was truly magnificent.
For some reason I feel a bit lightheaded today, so I was a bit nervous to pass out if I went too fast in the beginning. And I was hoping that Mariusz would slow down a bit in the end, but he just kept on moving and moving, so in the end I have to go for it.
I have a problem because I am small. Magnus is tall, he's good for Magnus, yeah. This event.
Battle of Stones.
I came here, there was already an injuries, but of course we knew the yoke could be a problem, and actually it was a problem. So there's nothing you can do actually to control the pain, and the pain happened, and now as the event gonna go through, I guess there's more pain coming.
We'll see who wins, but I think Hugo and me lift all 5 stones.
Hugo, of course, referring to the bike walk in the last programme, up against Savickas.
Get ready!
Hugo Girard against Zydrunas Savickas. 2 huge guys. This could be one heat where all 10 stones finish on the podiums.
And a real question mark over the form of Hugo Girard here. The Canadian, when he's at his best, can compete on equal terms with anybody in the world. And Zydrunas Savickas certainly coming on strong now. His first event wasn't particularly good, but since then he's looked superb. And Savickas into the lead now, picking up bonus points all the time. 1 extra point for each of the Atlas stones. And number 4 weighs a massive 275 kilos. Now then, Savickas trying to go for number 5. Remember, it's Adrian Rollinson who set the fastest time in the last programme, 31.38. They're both outside of that sort of time, but look at Hugo Girard. Is he going to win it? Yes, he is. by a whisker. The Canadian beats Savickas, and that was a big surprise.
I thought you had a bad foot.
I have a bad foot, but you know, I just put it on the side for 43 seconds.
Wrestling.
This is strength in its purest form. Wrestling, man against man, no equipment. It's 2 points for a win, 3 fights and 1 point for a loss. But you must stay in the ring for 10 seconds to gain that point.
Gentlemen,
the Grenadian, Mark Felix, slightly the taller, up against the Viking Dane, Rene Minkwitz, who is slightly heavier than Mark.
Ready!
Rene Minkwitz is a prison guard, so he's used to wrestling guys. But I wonder if he's ever wrestled anybody the size of Mark Felix.
I've been very impressed with Mark Felix so far in the top 6 competitors after the first program, but there he was bundled out of the ring and he looked as though he almost weighed next to nothing. Tremendous power from Rene Minkwitz. So Mark Felix has to come back hard here. Minkwitz looking incredibly aggressive, incredibly determined, and I think Mark Felix a little bit intimidated by the form of the Dane, and he's going again. And he's gone. Now, was that to Felix or was it to Minkwitz? It was to Felix.
Round number 2 to Mark Felix.
I thought the Grenadian had lost that, so it's 1-1 and sudden death now. Whoever wins this third bout gets maximum points. Now then, can Mark Felix get his long arms wrapped around the bulk of Rene Minkwitz? Minkwitz way over 55 inches in terms of his chest size. Mark Felix very athletic, but Minkwitz just picks him up like a doll. And Minkwitz has won. And Mark Felix looks so surprised there. Rene Minkwitz delighted with his point score. I tell you what, he's a shocking dancer. It's a good job he's so strong.
You go either way, it's 50-50. You don't know where you are. You just a little bit crazy when you're in there, and then just suddenly you slip, and then you lose one match, but you still have 2 others to go. So. But I still think it's very dangerous event.
I enjoy, to tell the truth. I like stuff like that. The reason, because I couldn't get a grip on my back foot, that's why it was just get me out of the ring so easy.
Deadlift.
Hugo Girard out to the next event, and he really came into form in the Atlas Stones, but now the deadlift facing him. 7 maximum lifts, the target for everybody. I just wonder how Hugo Girard's injured foot is holding out. It shouldn't trouble him in this event. There's no movement involved other than the lifting of the legs, the lower back, and the straightening out of the shoulders. Oh, that's a massive weight, but he manages it. Hugo Girard, for so long now, Canada's strongest man, twice North America's strongest man, and a great favourite in World's Strongest Man 2. Trying number 4, he can't do it. And I wonder if Raimonds Bergmanis can beat that and get the extra point. Well, this man is remarkable. He's been to 3 Olympic Games for weightlifting in the past. A great sportsman.
Take your grip.
And certainly, because of Raymond's background, you would expect him to do well with this. Hours and hours in the gym, almost doing identical lifts to this one. And with heavier weights sometimes too. In goes barrel number 2. And that was a bit of a struggle, but he managed it. So he's drawn level with this man, Hugo Girard. 1 more and he goes ahead of the Canadian, and he's got it. He's turning around as if to say, I've done enough. Has he done enough, or will he go for another one? Just getting a bit more chalk on the hands. That improves the grip. It helps enormously. He's going to rub salt in the wound now. He goes for the 5th lift, and he gets it for an extra bonus point. Wants another one. Looking a little bit tired. I have to say, he was looking a little bit tired at the end of the wrestling. Different muscle groups this time. He says no, but that is a victory over one of the strongest men in North America, Hugo Girard. And good points too for Bergmanis.
Motorcycle walk.
It sounds very simple when it's said like that, doesn't it? But Adrian Rollinson next, and Tomi Lotta from Finland, in the bike walk in the Bahamas.
Both Tommy and Adrian are going to have to work very hard to get into the scoring zone on the yoke race.
Lift!
So here we go, two giant men. Rollinson certainly the heaviest between the two. Tomi Lotta is getting away and Adrian Rollinson is struggling. Well, Tomi Lotta, his very first World's Strongest Man competition, and he's going well, but look at Rollinson! Rollinson chasing him down. Oh, what a shame! Adrian Rollinson was gaining on the Finn all the time, but now Adrian's struggling just a little bit. Needs to get those giant bikes on balance. Lotta's done enough. He gets the extra point, 27.27, to carry the bikes over the 30-meter course. And it just looks as though Adrian has run out of steam. Second in this year's Britain's Strongest Man. A mountain of a guy from the West Midlands is Adrian Rollinson. The crowd giving him a lot of support. He's just got to get the front tyres over that line. And he's staggering all over the place now. The lactic acid has really kicked in and it's hurting. He's run out of time anyway. Disappointment for Adrian after going so well with his last event, but what a performance by Lotta.
That was terrible. I mean, from the start I put it up, I knew I'd got it actually resting on my bow on the back. And because you're in a rise, you think, I've got to go through it, and now as soon as I dropped it, I knew.
Well, also in the bike walk, Steve Kirit of the USA was beaten by Magnus Samuelsson, and the American had to pull out with a back injury. Meanwhile, in the squat lift, Mark Felix was really struggling, and he was comprehensively beaten by Tomi Lotta of Finland. Welcome back to Atlantis, Paradise Island.
Truck pull.
Well, there's no doubt about the fact that Adrian will give it his best, and he's well built for this event to pull the 10-ton truck down a course of 30 metres. $155 kilos, body weight, a little bit of a slip there at the beginning, but that truck is on the way, and if he can't pull it down the whole course, well, he's going to get bonus points all the way, but then it'll be the fastest time for the next competitor to try and beat. And look at the pace at which Adrian Rollinson is pulling that truck now. Driving with the legs, pulling with the arms. Well, I have to say the rope is a bit slack. He's not having much of an impact on the truck with his arms. It's the legs that are doing the work, and the front of that truck must cross the line, and that is good by Rollinson. 34.49 maximum bonus points, and that looked very good indeed.
The trouble is the start. Once I get going out, I'm a quick log, but I just have a problem with the start. But it's a body weight thing, I think.
If you're wondering who this is, it's Andrus Murumets of Estonia, who's replaced Steve Kirit of the United States, who's withdrawn because of a back injury. A 20-stone policeman who specialises in football hooliganism. You definitely wouldn't argue with this guy. And comes, of course, from Estonia, one of the Baltic states, along with Lithuania, Latvia, who are really getting into strongman. And this guy is not just cruising, he's sprinting. And this spells danger for Adrian Rollinson. Adrian's time down the whole length of the course, 34.49. And this is certainly on a par with that. Gaining bonus points all the time. For his very first appearance in a World's Strongest Man competition, he's done well. Whoa! 34.5 seconds. Adrian Rollinson wins it by 1/100th of a second.
I hope I do 10 times, and Mariusz can't do that, but he can. I think he can do that.
Well, certainly Tomi Lotta is going to have his hands full with Pudzianowski, but 10 lifts is an enormous target to go for.
Lift!
Well, certainly when you think of some of the great Finnish champions of the past, this guy's following in a great tradition of Finnish strongmen. And 2 lifts, very easy indeed. Remember, in the last programme, the maximum we had was 3 by a former Olympic weightlifter, Raimonds Bergmanis. And he's going past that with ease. And Douglas Edmonds, in fact, disallowing one of those lifts. That's why he had to lift it twice in a row. And Mariusz, the reigning world's strongest man, shaking his head there. He goes next. And bonus points being picked up for 4 lifts, for 6 lifts, 8, and then 10 if possible. Not long to go. Mariusz waiting pensively. And Tomi Lotta is looking incredibly impressive. Gives each of the little safes a kick. 115 kilos, 254 pounds. That's about 18 stone he's lifting above his head. Absolutely phenomenal. The time limit, 75 seconds. He's coming up to that pretty shortly. A little push, just beginning to run out of steam. And remember, this man said that Pudzianowski is going to be the king of this event, but that is a fantastic effort. And what a total he has set for the pole. 9 lifts. A little pat there for Mariusz.
First time self lift. Maybe 5, maybe 8, I don't know. I hope 10 reps.
Maybe 15?
Impossible. Impossible this year. This event is time, 75 seconds. Impossible for me. It's problem maybe not heavy, only problem balance. This event, impossible. I want only 8 reps is good for me.
Well, I'm sure Mariusz has done his homework. 8 lifts will not be good enough. Tomi Lotta has set an outstanding lead with 9 repetitions, and that is the target that this fella's going to go for.
Take your grip. Lift.
That 132 kilos body weight is solid muscle. There is not an ounce of fat on Mariusz. And already Douglas Edmonds disallowing one of those. Little push with the legs, and it goes up straight. And this is very quick. If Mariusz ties with Tomi Lotta on 9, the time will come into account. And this is so much quicker than the Finns' effort. That's 8. And Tomi Lotta is going, well, I think I may have lost it. 1 repetition to go. And he's got it. That is going to win the competition because he's so much faster, about 20 seconds faster than Tomi Lotta, but he's going to go for number 10. It would be a phenomenal achievement. He needs to just get that reset. Gives it a little kick. Won't make any difference. Now then, 1 more to make it a round figure of 10. Maximum bonus points achieved, not quite. He needs that extra repetition for the 5th bonus point. Oh, that was almost down on Mariusz's neck. And he's won it because he was quicker than Tomi Lotta. Big shake of the hands, bit of a hug as well. Good effort from Pudzianowski.
The balance is very bad. I tried 2 times to get the last one, but I can't. I take 9.5.
And Mariusz, what about for you? 10 was so close.
Yes. 9 repetition is easy go. I have to finish 30 seconds. No left, I don't know. Not strong. One repetition, down and finish.
The Estonian then pulled off a real shock victory in the carry and drag, beating Savickas. And after that, in the Fingal's fingers, Girard's foot was clearly okay as he saw off Minkwitz without too much bother.
Giant Farmer's Walk.
It's getting very tense, but I wouldn't give up till the end. I'm gonna just go, all the way, just to do my best.
I'm not going to be bothered too much what my opponent do. I just want to try to finish it. That's my main goal for today from this event.
Well, it's certainly wet underfoot, and that was because Hurricane Jean almost made it to Nassau.
Take your grip.
But Sven Carson up against Mark Felix, and Sven Carson, one of the great farmers walkers in the world.
Mark Felix has got a very strong grip. On the other hand, Sven Carson doesn't. So I'm tipping a win here for Mark Felix.
Away we go, 160 kilos in each hand, over 350 pounds, and Felix already struggling a little bit. And I think Mark Felix can count himself unlucky that he's been drawn against this man, Sven Carson, who's rock solid, gaining bonus points all the time. Mark Felix looking a little bit wobbly, but even the great man himself, just before the line, he dropped those weights and eventually slid them over. So Viking Power has done it again. Mark Felix, he's got to try and finish this to get all the maximum bonus points. He says he wants to become world's strongest man one day. He came up against one of the all-time greats in this contest, Sven Carson. Absolutely superb, once again from the Norwegian.
Are you a little bit disappointed you couldn't get to the end with that?
Yes, because it was so close. So, well, it's 6 points, and that's the most important now.
The knee is kind of weak because it's a bit sore, but I still wanted to complete the course, so I'll get 5 points.
Stone Circle.
This is going to be a hard battle. Vasyl's key events is always the events where he can walk with weight, and this is what it's all about in this one. So for me to beat him here will take something special.
We certainly saw something special the last time we saw this event. Mariusz Pudzianowski, 3 revolutions, so that's the target.
Left.
As well as those statistics, there's another one you might be interested in. This guy is 2 meters tall, almost 6'6", and those long levers will help in this contest. A giant weight, 300 kilos. He's got to keep those arms locked together. Travelling round well, that is 1 revolution. So already he gets 1 bonus point. And it truly was a magnificent effort last time by the Pole Pudzianowski. As Magnus Samuelsson, the most experienced man in this year's competition, being watched on by a great crowd, and his brother Torbjorn, who's here as well, himself quite strong, goes beyond 2, now beginning to slow down. He's coming to a grinding halt. The bar is getting lower and lower and drops to the ground. A good effort by Magnus, but we've got a very strong guy to follow. Virastyuk's in great form at the moment.
If this would have been a normal Grand Prix, I would have tried to run faster the first, let's say, 20 seconds while I'm fresh. But then you can have bad luck in fall. So now I used a long time instead, and the last 15-20 seconds, the legs were so stiff and full with acid, so I could not move. Just you know what to do, but nothing is happening.
You're up against Magnus. This is the battle of 2 big men.
No.
So what? Wow.
So economy of words there by Virastyuk with John Inverdale.
Take your position.
It's a good target that Magnus Samuelsson has set for the Ukrainian. Just getting his arms locked on.
Are you ready?
And a good grip, absolutely essential.
Left.
Well, when I was reading Virastyuk's biography the other day, it says when he finishes with strongman, he wants to become a television commentator. Well, he's not having my job. I wouldn't argue with him, though. He's an absolute giant of a man. And incidentally, so is his brother. One of the best shot putters in Europe. And this guy has put the shot 19 metres 75. I wonder if we could have him in this country. We could do with that sort of talent here. Coming round towards 2. Can he equal what Magnus achieved a few moments ago? Samuelsson looking a bit worried. That came out of the blue. I thought he was going well. So in fact, Samuelsson has got the bonus point for winning.
And what that meant was that the popular Swede is now right in contention for the Metrex trophy, with some of his strongest events still to come. The giant Ukrainian Virastyuk has at least one event in hand, and former finalist Bergmanis is propping up the table. Bergmanis on the down, Samuelsson on the up. Next time we'll see who's getting closer to booking a place in the final.